In the swirling chaos of life, where every moment feels like a storm threatening to consume us, there exists a path, a quiet, unyielding way to find peace. It's a path less traveled by the world, yet one walked by those who sought mastery over themselves and true happiness. This way, this path, is the ancient art of Stoicism. And it asks one simple yet terrifying question. What would happen if we simply let go? We live in a world that pulls us in countless directions: emotions, expectations, desires, fears, regrets. These forces, subtle yet all-encompassing, often dictate the course of our days, yet beneath the surface of all this noise, there lies an indomitable force, the power to control one thing, ourselves. This is where true happiness is found, not in the pursuit of endless pleasure or the accumulation of fleeting comforts, but in the mastery of our inner world. Stoicism teaches us this: happiness does not come from what we accumulate in life, but from what we are able to relinquish, to free ourselves from the chains of destructive emotion and thought. But to begin this journey, we must first confront the most difficult truth. The struggle is not with the world around us, but with the mind within us. The Stoics understood this more clearly than any before them, and perhaps more deeply than anyone since. The wisdom of the Stoic sages. The Stoic way is not for the faint-hearted. It requires us to face the darkest corners of our own souls, to challenge the very forces that seek to drag us down. It is a way of embracing suffering, not as something to be feared, but as an essential part of growth. The great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This profound insight cuts to the heart of Stoic wisdom, that obstacles, hardships, and difficulties are not to be avoided but embraced as opportunities to grow stronger. Marcus Aurelius didn't just write these words, he lived them. Amidst the blood-soaked battlefields and the weight of ruling an empire, he faced the same emotional turbulence we all do: fear, anger, sadness, doubt. Yet, he understood something essential. These emotions are not the essence of who we are, nor do they define our path. Instead, it is how we respond to them that shapes our lives. But what does it mean to truly let go in a world that constantly demands more of us? It means relinquishing our attachment to the uncontrollable. It means releasing our tight grip on the outcomes we desire and learning to control the one thing we can, our own responses. Destructive emotions and the Stoic path. Let us turn our gaze inward, for the battle begins within. The Stoic journey is an exploration of the emotional landscape, one that demands brutal honesty. The mind is a battlefield where countless forces rage: fear, envy, anger, grief, and anxiety, each vying for control over our thoughts and actions. Fear, perhaps, is the most insidious of them all. We fear loss, failure, rejection, death itself. Yet, the Stoics teach us that fear is born of our attachment to things we cannot control. Epictetus, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, admonished us. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. What are we truly afraid of? Is it the things that happen, or is it the way we perceive them? When we let go of the need to control every outcome, we find that fear loses its grip on us. Anger is another emotion that destroys us from within. It rises in moments of injustice or frustration, consuming us with thoughts of revenge or resentment. Yet what does anger truly give us? The Stoics knew well that anger only clouds our judgment and leads to regret. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic minds, wrote, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." To be angered is to surrender control to something external. By letting go of our attachment to wrongs done to us, we free ourselves from its poisonous grasp. Grief, too, is a powerful force. It seeps into our lives when we experience loss of loved ones, of dreams, of self-worth. But, as Epictetus reminds us, loss is not to be mourned forever. We must accept that all things are temporary, and it is our attachment to them that causes suffering. When we release that attachment, grief becomes less about what is lost and more about how we respond to the inevitable impermanence of life. The Stoic teaching calls us to master our reactions, not to deny the reality of emotion, but to separate ourselves from them, to acknowledge our feelings, yet not be enslaved by them. The Stoic knows that emotions are fleeting. They rise like storms, but also pass, and in their passing, they leave nothing but clarity. It is in this space between stimulus and response that true peace is found. The practice of self-control and resilience. Let us now consider the practical side of this philosophy. How do we let go? How do we transform our emotional turbulence into inner calm? The answer lies in the relentless practice of self-control and resilience. It is a daily effort, not a one-time achievement. The first step is to recognize what is within our control and what is not. We cannot control the actions of others, the events of the world, or even the unpredictability of life itself. But we can control how we respond. And this, Stoicism teaches us, is the true source of freedom. We are not free when we chase external goals or try to avoid pain. We are free when we learn to master ourselves, when we learn to respond to life's challenges with equanimity, courage, and wisdom. The second step is to practice mindfulness, to be aware of our thoughts and emotions without becoming them. In moments of crisis, the Stoic takes a deep breath and observes the storm within, rather than letting it control their actions. They do not act impulsively. They wait, reflect, and choose the response that aligns with their values. In this space, there is peace. Lastly, the Stoic understands that resilience is not merely about enduring hardships, but about using them to become stronger. When life knocks us down, it is not the fall that defines us, but the rise. As Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Every challenge, every setback, every moment of pain is an opportunity to build the mental fortitude that leads to true happiness. Letting go, the true path to peace. In the end, the Stoic path is about letting go, not of life itself, but of the attachments, desires, and emotions that cloud our judgment and rob us of peace. It is a journey of surrender, not to the chaos of the world, but to the wisdom within us, the wisdom that knows what is essential and what is not. It is a path of resilience, where each challenge becomes the soil in which our strength grows. It is a way of life that demands everything of us, yet offers us a peace that the world cannot give. To let go is not to abandon life, but to embrace it fully without clinging to it. The Stoic knows that nothing in life is permanent, yet within that impermanence lies the freedom to choose how we live. The Stoic seeks not to escape the world's trials, but to face them with courage and grace, knowing that through mastery of the self, true happiness, lasting, profound happiness, is found. So I ask you, what would happen if we let go? What if, instead of chasing after fleeting pleasures or anxiously resisting the inevitable, we simply let go? What if, instead of being slaves to our emotions, we became masters of our own fate? The Stoic way is not easy, but it is the path to true freedom. Let us walk it together.